we're going to be talking about SEO and how to improve that through tools that Google already has set up, and tips that they already have set up for us. So I am by no means an expert, but these are tools that I have recently found, but also some that I've already been using a little bit. So there is a little personal experience there I have with some of the tools. Let's go ahead and jump into the tool that I had dropped into the Google group in response to Maddie. It's the Google Search Central tool. It is a way to make sure that you are discoverable on Google search results pages. So when we come here, and I think the link that was in the Google group as well leads you to this page where there's kind of some options already selected. Basically, our site, it uses JavaScript, and our business is probably best described as being part of a large brand. And then as far as our own personal role, we're usually the business owner or marketer. And so I had also added has multiple languages because we may have that option with the Google Translate tool if you've embedded that in your site. I think your different selection of options changes the list down here. I'm not sure if the multiple languages really changes much, but these are really great tips if you just go down the line to make sure that you have them checked off. When it comes to the knowledge panel, when on a search results page on Google, we'll typically see, if you search for like a storefront, you'll usually see a picture, a street view picture of it, and then the direct information, usually the contact information about that place. So this usually is something that is already in place just based on so many Google searches. Google realizes that that should be identified as an entity on its own, rather than just being only listed in the, let me actually pull one up. So if I look up LWVC, this over here is the knowledge panel. So aside from just being listed in the results here to the left, as we usually typically see, in addition to that, we would see the knowledge panel. So that is what is being recommended here with being verified on Google. You would need to log into a Google account, and usually that's going to be the case for most of these Google tools. So if you are okay with using your personal Google account, then you can usually just go right into it. Otherwise, you may need to log out and log into whatever appropriate Gmail or Google account.
I'm a little confused at the beginning. The thing you showed where you're clicking, there were different things you checked. I'm just
here in the options.
Yeah. How does this relate to our MyLO site?
So this is for the search engine optimization. It's to improve how you are found on Google. And so that's how it's going to relate.
But how do we, when we go to this site that you've just gone to, how does it connect to our URL and everything? I just don't understand. Maybe others see this. I just don't quite understand how this connects to my website.
So it's because your site should already be appearing on Google, but the next step is to check if you are appearing on search. So it is connecting because Google is doing all the work. They're doing all the heavy lifting here. By crawling our site, they typically already have our data. They already have us listed. And so that's probably why the knowledge panel is that first step to claim that. But if there is no knowledge panel, then that means you may not be appearing on search. And there's other ways to resolve it.
The checkboxes at the top,
Mhm.
how do I get those to show?
So if you come to, it is developers.google.search. This is the blank page, and I can drop it in the chat so that we have it in multiple places. Because again, it is in the Google group. So if you get to this page, then by default, only business owner or marketer is selected. And it's asking you to select your profile and get some recommendations of how you can improve the SEO. So based on being a business owner or marketer, we're definitely getting different instructions than if we chose developer or SEO professional.
Okay.
And then to describe, yeah.
So if we have a Google account that's attached, like if our email address on our website is a Google account,
Mhm.
you know, is this set up? Is this already set up for us based on that Google account?
This is something that I think anybody can actually reach. Let me visit this as a guest. Yeah, so this page itself and even the recommendations that come with it are purely informational. They're giving you instructions on what to go out and do. Let's see, I
guess I have the same question then as Liz, is that, okay, we've got this website name, this URL.
Mhm.
And if we went into that website that you just gave us in the chat,
Mhm.
will we be seeing information that we've put in for our URL, or how do we connect those two?
There is no need to connect this instruction or this is not a tool here, the Google Search Central. It is just giving you instructions on how to go out and make your site more searchable. It is, yeah, there isn't going to be a way like Google Analytics that shows you very clearly this is your site's data because you've made a manual connection there. There isn't that ability here. So this is just going to be telling us, go out and do these things. I'm trying to find one instruction where it tells us, here we go, use Search Console. And sorry to skip around, but this will probably give us a better idea. Since Search Console is one of Google's tools, that's one of the tools where you do need to have your Google account logged in, whether it's a Gmail or an existing Google account. And this is going to give you some insights on, just like it says, how many clicks, how are you ranking, and you get an idea on mobile usability. We're definitely going to be looking at that tool, but that's an idea or an example of how this is an instruction and it's sending you off to possibly go use Google's tools, or many of these things are things that just maybe a webmaster has to choose on their own, like using high quality images. That doesn't involve Google or MyLO. It first really involves the league or the person involved in uploading those. When it comes to,
I guess the reason that I'm a little confused is I actually have several websites. Okay, so I'm doing MyLO and I'm doing something else for some other professional.
Mhm.
So if I go into this thing and I change settings or I set up settings, is that coming from my computer, or how does it know which of my URLs I want it to apply to, or does it just apply to all of my URLs once I set this up?
So it isn't a thing about setting it up. When it comes to these instructions, it is telling you to do the thing. So you need to take the action and specify which website you're trying to do this work on. So there isn't an automatic connection of it knowing exactly which property you're trying to look at. So like this one as well, if we want to check to see if we're appearing on search, we ourselves have to search on Google site-my.lwv.
So, Amaris,
Yeah.
is it that when we click those boxes in the beginning, that's kind of like narrowing down the information to what we need to see? It doesn't take us someplace that does those things. It just gets rid of everything that we won't care about if we are in that role.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it's a way of scoping down the information so that we only see what we want to, what we need to see.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
And how do you add another one there? Like,
Just by clicking on it, it enables
we
it
just
and then
got those.
disables it.
okay, all right.
Mhm.
So they don't keep adding ones for you. That's what's there.
That's what's there. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So it makes it easy. Did I hear, was there another question?
Yeah, I had a question. You mentioned on down in the use search console that we needed to be logged into a Google account. We're on Google Workspace for all of our league stuff. And so we have several different Gmails. So would the Gmail that we were supposed to be in at that time, would that be the administrator Gmail or would that be the general email?
That might be a decision that's up to you guys. I don't know if there's any specific instruction about Google Works or about the Search Console specific to Google Workspace accounts, but if it's just like any other Google or Gmail account, since you have a different address, a different Gmail for each, you may have the choice.
Okay. Because
So,
it's just generating reports like analytics, then that would definitely go to the administrator.
yeah, and that's a good point too. You bring up Google Analytics. I would suggest if you already have Google Analytics set up with one Google account to set up the Search Console with the same. It makes your job easier of setting up the Search Console account because it's similar to the analytics where it's asking you for a property. And so when you are able to just say that this is the property and it's the same Google account, Google does all the work and transfers things over really nicely.
Okay, thank you.
My question is on the languages.
Mhm.
Are they talking languages like spoken languages, or are they talking computer languages? Like JavaScript is a computer language.
I see. I think they are talking about the computer languages here.
Okay, do we use multiple computer languages?
I do believe we do, but it actually doesn't seem to be changing. It is going to be the same recommendations regardless.
Okay.
We definitely do use JavaScript. I'm just not entirely sure how many others.
Okay, so the fact that we use Google Translates means nothing in that particular
Yeah, I
question.
don't believe so.
Okay, thank you.
If we, I think when I set up Google Analytics, I set it with my own Gmail because we didn't have a league Gmail account. Now, when we make this transition to the new analytics, would that be a good time to try to set it up again with the league, our league Gmail account?
You certainly can. And also you have the option to transfer it, essentially adding another Gmail or Google account as an administrator, and then you can remove yourself. It's
So do you
I had thought it was impossible, but it's pretty easy. It's doable.
Okay,
That's
so that's
good.
probably a better idea than to have it with mine.
Yeah. And I believe that I think we talked about this last time, but I think that Google in March is going to be copying our existing UA property into a GA4 property so that it's kind of sitting in wait. It's not going to be collecting data because we aren't yet connecting it to our site. But it'll be there ready for us to do so when we have it ready.
Thank you.
Mhm. Okay, so I think these are probably pretty self-explanatory. When it comes to the images, here we're talking about the alt text. Let's see, maybe I need to come back to MyLO. If you aren't familiar with the alt text, we are pretty much asked to fill that in. Maybe I should go to manage files. Every time that we upload an image, we're asked to provide that. We make it a requirement because it is not only for accessibility, but it is also for SEO. So this is alt text. We have a description there, and it's exactly that. By adding alt text, you improve accessibility and search engine optimization. So it is basically a description of your image. What Google loves is text. And so if we just throw up an image without text, you know, to give it some context, it can degrade our SEO score. And so that's why we make it a requirement. And yeah, it's pretty easy to do because it's just right there in your face every time you upload.
Anne-Marie, can I ask a question about what you just talked about, the alternate text?
Yeah.
Because I know when I am, like you said, putting something into the library, I know I've been lazy because I just want to get it done, but I just realized, so we actually had a blind, a visually impaired member. And so does that mean that if he was clicking on the picture, he would hear what I wrote in?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Wasn't really thinking about it seriously. Thank you.
No worries. If anyone was ever curious, there are free screen readers you could download, or yeah, they're usually for download, or even Chrome extensions or like browser extensions, and you can hear for yourself what your site sounds like. Jan, I saw that your hand was up.
Yeah, I was just going to mention it's for visually impaired people, and if you don't fill it out, they don't hear anything.
Mm-hmm.
So usually I try to describe what the picture is.
Yeah, that's the best way to do it. And I will say too that one of the kind of founding members of MyLO, who helped create a lot of the code, Rain Michaels, her mother was visually impaired. And so that was a passion of hers to make the site accessible. And so that's why we see things like that required, not only for SEO, but definitely for accessibility.
What about the title?
The title is, it says it improves usability. It is mostly for the user. The alt text is what Google is going to be reading. The title text, it appears when we hover over it.
So with the visually impaired person?
That I'm not sure. Maybe they might hear it in addition to the alt text. That I'm not sure of.
I think the
yeah.
alt text also shows up if for some reason it can't pull up the picture, right?
Yes, that is another way that we see it.
Yeah.
Okay. So now let's just go on to, actually, before we go to Search Console, I haven't seen this one. I'm not sure if this is another tool. Getting started with page experience. Okay, this is what we're probably going to be seeing in the Search Console. So let's actually just jump to that. like I said earlier, we're gonna be able to see how many clicks and some keywords that people use. We get to see mobile usability. And so before I jump into it, let me first maybe go back to the guest one here. I just want to show you how it would be to set and connect your account to your, what is it called? To your domain or your MyLO URL. Sorry, I'm actually going to use a different Google account, one that I'm actually signed into. I guess we could go to the search console. I believe that's search.google.com. No. And I'll drop the URL in the chat right now for the search console. There we go. Oh, it is. Oh, search.google.com/. Oh no. Okay, I'm so sorry. I definitely wanted to show you how to connect a property since it is going to be a few steps. I'm not sure if my Google account is going to be the same as what you would experience since I have kind of admin access to all of MyLO URLs. So, but I'll go through the steps that I have to take. So when you first get here, you're probably just going to see a blank setup. I think these boxes will still be here, but you'll probably see this drop down and it'll probably say like, I don't know, add a domain or something like that, or add property. It'll probably say this here. So we'll click on that. When it comes to what we want to add in, we are going to use the URL prefix since this is going to require a DNS verification. We don't have the DNS access to our MyLO URLs, so just type in or paste in your MyLO URL. I'm going to use this one here, our sample basic site. Where was I? And I'm just pasting that in.
So Amaris, just to confirm, this is being recorded, and if we want to come back and watch you do this again, it'll be available, right?
Yes.
Okay, I won't take voluminous notes then, I'll just watch.
Yeah, definitely will be.